Since their formation, the Castleford Tigers Women have been at the forefront of the women's rugby league revolution. This week, the Tigresses have made more history by becoming the first ever women's team to provide cardiac screening for their players. These ECG tests help to identify any heart irregularities, and the team have been able to organise it thanks to individual player sponsors. Dr. Richard Lawrence is here to tell us more about this huge breakthrough for the women's game.
So I've been involved in rugby league for a little while, and Castleford approached me when I was coming to screen the boys. So we screened 80 of the lads 2 or 3 weeks ago, and Lindsay at the club was really interested, especially as there have been quite a number of high-profile cases in rugby league where players that have needlessly sort of died on the field of play. And the big example that everyone knows about in rugby league is Danny Jones from about 4 years ago. So I'm quite active in rugby league as well as a team doctor, and I've known Lizzie through my time at Keighley Cougars as being a team doctor with Danny. So I knew Danny personally. So there's a personal motivation of not wanting to see this sort of thing happen in rugby league, or in any sport really, to be honest. But particularly in rugby league, because I've been involved in that through Danny Jones Foundation and Lizzie. And the motivation there, when we had the chance to extend this to the ladies, and it's not even even at the international game, to be the first team in professional rugby for Castleford, I think is real kudos for Castleford. I think it's a brilliant example and something that we should be thinking of across the professional game. Why it should be just in the men's game and not in the women's game, I don't understand. And I think Castleford are leading by example, and full marks to them. I think it's brilliant that they've been able to do this.
When people talk about the women's game, there's a lot of talk about the quality of play, a lot of talk about the media, but player welfare should come first, shouldn't it?
Player welfare is massive, but if you think these girls are performing in front of quite a number of people, they're performing in thousands if you go to the Sydney Nines competition, for example, and if we're to be sort of matching the men's game, then which is what we should be aspiring to from the welfare perspective, then the cardiac screening is a massive part of that. If you can prevent just one Danny Jones or Daniela Jones from happening, then I think it's all got to be exceptionally worthwhile, and as I say, for Castleford to be leading in that area, I think is brilliant.
And were all the girls up for it? Were they fine to go along with it?
I have to say, the banter that you get from the girls is entirely different to the banter that you get when you're screening the boys, and they've all been actually even more inquisitive and more interested in why we're doing it than I get from a lot of the lads. And I think it's absolutely brilliant. They've all been up for it. To a woman, they've been up to it. Yeah.
I guess that shows that kind of in the men's game they're kind of used to all this. In the women's game, it's breaking new ground, completely something different.
It totally is breaking new ground. We've been doing this for the men's game for the past 4-5 years, and for this to happen now in the women's game, I think they're seeing this as a bit of a novelty, but they're also realising just how serious things are being taken. If they're high profile, if they're on a televised match, why shouldn't they get the same sort of care that the boys are getting for their matches? This is now important. This should be standard of care across the sport.
Well, Richard, thank you very much for coming down and doing this for us. Thank you very much.
It's been a great pleasure. Thank you very much for inviting me.